sandwiches, ice cream, coffee and snacks, and many other pleasing treats. Our foods are fresh and tasty, our drinks satisfying and refreshing. They're so good.
Welcome to Average Joe's Drive-In.
And now, on with the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Average Joe's Drive-In, episode number 63. And back, kind of like Slim Shady, is Zach Thompson from They Called Me Legion. How's it going, man?
It's going good. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. So what have you been up to since the last time you stopped in? I know it's been a little bit.
I've literally been hauled up in a side room of my apartment, and I've unplugged myself from social media, and I'm trying to write the new effing album before May 1st. And I was supposed to finish the last song today, and I still haven't. So I've got to do that when I get home.
So he's here today instead of finishing up the band's new album.
Yeah, so I'm
That's
slacking.
dedication right there.
Yeah.
That's dedication to coming on and being a guest on the podcast. So.
You kidding? Anytime.
So you guys been doing any shows? I see you guys have been playing out a little bit.
A little bit. We kind of, we don't have anything, like, booked to play until June 3rd. I'm doing an acoustic show the 13th of May, and by June 3rd, we're playing at, the Bangor Art Exchange with Badusky and Nice Life. So that'll be our first show. So it'll be about a month, probably a month gap.
Yeah, I remember like back in the day, going those month gaps were always so weird because we would play out so consistently at least a couple times a month or more, and then all of a sudden we'd go like a month or two and take a little break, and then it was so weird like getting back on stage again after that month. It felt like we'd been off stage for like a year. It was always weird. And
I hate it. Yeah, it's the worst. And like we haven't practiced. Like if we don't have a show, we don't really practice because we're all so busy with like work, and Richie's got a kid now and all that stuff. So
adult life gets in the way.
Seriously. So like when we don't have a show, we don't practice. So when we don't have shows, it feels like we're not playing at all. And it really sucks.
Oh, that used to be in the Kingdom of Nightmares. We do the same thing. It's because we practice so much at the beginning, even like Tomorrow's Tragedy. I will say Tomorrow's Tragedy, we practiced like 6, and the ghost just opened the door to my house. That's awesome. So yeah, in the Kingdom of Night, like Tomorrow's Tragedy, practiced almost 7 days a week unless we had a show, and then even some days we would practice even if we had a show.
Yeah.
I mean, but. In the Kingdom of Nightmares, we practiced a lot when we were writing, but when we weren't writing, if we didn't have a show, we'd go like a couple 2 or 3 weeks and not practice, and then just get together and run the songs and make sure we had them, and then go do a show. So
yeah, that's the thing. I'm always writing. Like that's all I've been doing lately. But yeah, just as far as playing together, it's like I live with James, who plays bass for us, and like. We haven't played together in like seriously since our last show probably, and we see each other almost every day. So
the same thing. My drummer lived with me, so I mean, it was for a long time, or my guitar player, whoever. And a lot of my bandmates lived with me over the years, and 90% of the time we didn't write anything, even when we weren't doing stuff.
Just so busy, just trying to get between work schedules and everything. It's a nightmare, but. Make it happen somehow.
Yeah, you get in there eventually.
Yep.
Eventually it pans out and the planets align and you actually
gods smile on you and you're able to practice on a Wednesday.
On a Wednesday for like an hour and a half, and then you're too busy catching up, so you don't actually practice. You just end up shooting the shit with everybody. Yeah. Happens. So what are you guys looking to do with this album? Are you kind of going in the same direction? Are you kind of expanding? What's going on with this? Or is it going to be like classic They Called Me Legion?
I don't know. I mean, we're always looking to evolve, I guess. We never want to do the same thing twice, I don't think. So it'll definitely be rock and punk oriented, but there'll definitely be some probably curveballs, some left.
I was
going
to say moments. Because you guys have had you've even had some almost like surfy rock type shit on some of your stuff too.
Love that shit.
So.
Yeah, no, there'll definitely be a lot of a lot of, we always throw in bits of things we like, and we're always listening and liking to new shit, so we always are throwing in new stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as far as that goes, it's going to be, I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what it sounds like as a whole. We have one song on it that I'm pretty proud of that it's like I think a 3-minute song, and it's 2 chords, the entire song.
So it's a punk song, is what
But
you're telling
it's
me.
real, but it's not. That's the thing. It's creepy. It's weird. You'll have to see. But we're trying. We're doing some experimenting. There are some songs that have a lot more moving parts than we've ever done before, and some like that are like as basic as can be, pretty much. So we're kind of just testing all areas and seeing what we can do.
Oh,
I don't know.
I totally get that. It's like everybody you always hear, especially non-musicians, you always hear them, well, I don't like their new sound, or I don't like this, and I don't like that. Which, hey, as I always say at the end of my shows, opinions are like assholes, everybody has one. But the whole thing is, as a musician, it's you kind of, when you find your sound, you kind of have a tendency to stick to it, but you also want to add layers to that sound that you already have, and that does often piss off like old school fans. Mm-hmm. And then that's where you get well, they were better before, after Girls, Motley Crue sucked. They just weren't the same. Or
and my answer to that is always, well, those albums are still there, and you can go listen to them.
No,
and if you don't
you can't.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't like the new stuff, don't listen to it. If you like the old stuff, keep listening to it.
Or you get the Misfits fans, and they're probably some of the worst as far as because I am a Misfit fan. Maybe I noticed that more so, but. You get those polar divided fans that I don't like anything that Danzig didn't do, and then you get the other ones that are I only like Graves era, Misfits or whatever. It's I like all of it. It's all good. It's all kind of different in its own
ways. Even the Jerry stuff.
I like some of the Jerry stuff too, but
exactly.
I'm still really, really hoping they do an album with Danzig now that they played a few shows. So. As soon as that was announced, I was scrambling, trying to figure out how to come up with $5,000 so I could go to Colorado to Riot Fest and see that happen.
It looks like they're trying to maybe do more shows. I don't know.
Well, they just did one.
I know they did another one.
Did one in New Jersey, and
if they can, maybe in their old age, they've mellowed out enough that they can actually do a full length tour.
Well, there was a really good interview with Jerry, and he was talking about he's like. And he was kind of talking about that. He's like, he's like, Glenn and I are friends. He's like, but creatively, we're very different and we butt heads. But when we were younger, we couldn't put that part of it aside. So it kind of ruined the friendship. And he's like, now we've kind of, having a good time hanging out. If they can get
along with each other, then go for it. I don't see why they shouldn't. I mean,
because how fucking cool would that be?
It'd be awesome.
With Dave Lombardo playing drums for him,
Crazy.
So, and like you said, I actually like some of the Jerry only. There was a lot of good stuff.
There are some good songs. I don't care what anyone says.
On the Devil's Rain, there's 5 or 6 songs.
I think Devil's Rain is a good song. Yeah. And what was the one? Land of the Dead.
Land of the Dead.
Not Twilight of the Dead.
No. Vivid Red is a really good song, too, on that. Is another one that I really like.
Richie, funny story. You know the song Unexplained on that album?
I actually like that one,
when
too.
When Richie heard it, Richie called me one night, and he was like, dude, Jerry only ripped me off. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, I wrote a song called Seniors 2000 whatever year it was when he graduated.
Yeah.
And he was like, that's my chord progression, but it's the classic 4
I was
chord
gonna say,
it's the one that everyone uses and you can't
I was going to say,
copyright.
but there is, and I can't think of the name of the song right off the top of my head, but there's a classic 50s rock song that sounds almost exactly like that. Same chord progression, the whole deal.
Yeah.
And I can't think of the name of the song. I want to almost say it's I almost want to say it's Then He Kissed Me.
Really?
If you listen to those two songs together, because when that first came out, if you listen to it's different enough, but if you really listen to it, it's almost like
can
the
hear
exact same rhythm and chord progressions and everything.
Shit. No, Richie was convinced. He was like,
minus the chorus.
Off.
I'm talking more about the verse.
Yeah.
But it's kind of. I think that's the song. It might not be. I do remember, like, when I first heard that, I was like going back through a lot of those old 50s songs and looking around, and I found it. And I was like, holy shit, yeah, that's almost the exact same song.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. You know, you can't copyright chords.
Hey,
That's
but
the thing.
then again, AC/DC wrote the same album 20 times, 18 times, whatever, you want to say.
Yeah.
And the thing is, with a lot of punk, man, I love punk, but there's a lot of it that sounds very similar.
It's
because
super monotonous. It's like any other genre. If you get into a certain vein, it all starts to kind of blend together to a degree.
the bands that can really take it and kind of do something new with it, but still remain true to the kind of roots of it,
Yeah.
are the ones that usually, I think, last.
Yeah.
You get the ones that just kind of stick to that same formula, and after an album or two, they're done because they just can't. They're so stuck in the box that they can't get out. Pennywise is a great example of a band that's progressed a lot over the years. You listen to like early Pennywise, and that is old, like just straight up punk, and then it goes more into that more of a melodic alt rock thing now, really. But there's that punk root is still but so much alt rock is punk based anyway.
Right.
So,
exactly. It's kind of the stepchild of it, or what?
The bastard stepchild.
The bastard redhead stepchild.
You had grunge, which was a bastard stepchild, and then the alt rock kind of sprung from the grunge, kind of that in between, and the hard rock and the grunge. You got alt rock, and then it's weird to. I just, like, me personally, I haven't been listening to anything new-ish for bands, so I kind of like Greta Van Fleet. I've been checking them out a lot.
Yeah.
Or, the reincarnated version of Led Zeppelin, which is basically what they are, but that's okay. Their songs are good, so that's all that matters. But yeah, it's kind of weird because you're starting to see a big comeback of that late 70s, early 80s sound is really starting to creep into things.
It's crazy. No, well, that's the thing. It's like a time of extremes. It's like you look at the other side of what's popular, and it's either like the bro country or the like trap rap, all that stuff. Like, so you go from that, and then the other people finally need something to listen to, and so that's why it's automatically. It's like, oh, these guys sound like Zeppelin. Well, fucking make them stars,
dude. And there's another band. The hell, I'm trying to remember them. They're called like the Biters.
Dude, the Biters.
Yeah, they sound like cheap. They sound like a weird mix of like early 80s late 70s hard rock, early 80s glam metal.
Wow.
But they kind of remind me a little bit of like Cheap Trick,
Nice.
like 80s era Cheap Trick.
Wow.
Maybe a little bit heavier, but kind of that same. But you're starting to see some of those bands pop up that it's like, and it's not even just that they're popping up. It's like they sound so ridiculously close to a lot of those bands that it's just like, holy shit,
Maybe that's our version of time travel. We're just gonna restart all the trends so we can just re-go through everything again.
Well, they say, what is it, every 30 years shit comes back around again, or
so
every 20 years stuff comes back around.
We're gonna live to see
so when
punk come back around.
When I'm like 60, death metal is gonna be way back in style again. It's gonna be like early 2000s.
It's gonna be good to be alive again.
My band we can come, retire. We can come out of retirement when we're in the retirement home. You know? Tomorrow's Tragedy 50th year reunion, and we haven't played. It's my alarm clock. Sorry.
Remind me you're doing a podcast.
Right. Yeah. So if anybody was taking a nap, hopefully that woke you up anyway. Or if you even heard it. But yeah. So yeah, it's just weird to see all this stuff coming back around again because I've seen all these kind of things. Growing up in the era I did, I kind of caught the ass end of the punk thing. I don't remember it so well when I was little, but like going through, it's like I was born when during the punk boom, basically late 70s.
Yeah.
and then to see it come back around in like the late 90s, early 2000s.
I've kind of seen it resurge.
Same with metal,
yeah.
though. You know, I grew up during like the thrash metal explosion,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden to see like there be like a 10 or 15 year gap, and then all of a sudden that come back. You know, it's.
See, I grew up during the NSYNC explosion. When I grew up, it wasn't Metallica, Megadeth, it was NSYNC or Backstreet.
What about O-Town?
I didn't even know who O-Town was. I never knew who O-Town was until I went to college.
That's what Zach learned in college, was who O-Town
That's
was.
pretty much the only thing I learned, too. I learned what O-Town was.
So you get these recycling and resurgences, but the weird thing is, so you get, in most cases, it's kind of an adaptation of the sound and style of that era. What we're seeing now, I think, is a little different, because it's not even really an adaptation. It's almost like a straight up, they are finding a way to capture that sound, try to capture the sound from that era, and play like the same the same. It's kind of weird. It's almost like we're a cover band trying to nail a tribute band nailing the stuff, but we're writing our own shit.
I wonder. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. Do they write their own stuff?
I think so. Yeah.
Man, I don't know. They must like dissect that shit.
It's just weird. I mean,
because like I know the pieces that put like a lot of genres together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But just because I know what a punk band is
right.
doesn't mean if I'm gonna be a punk band, that's what I'm gonna do.
Right.
So
right.
like,
right.
It's like I think they kind of like took it like what is Led Zeppelin, and they just like
they took the master class of what is Led Zeppelin, broke it down. You know, is what. But when I've listened to them, I mean, granted, I've only listened through the album a couple times, and a bunch of the songs that I like, I've listened to. But to me, it's when you really listen to them, there are some songs that are straight up. I mean, just they're very Zeppelin. But then you listen to other songs. There's a couple songs. The song Black Smoke Rising reminds me of Heart, kind of. The way he sings that, he almost does like Ann Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's that same thing. But then, there's kind of a Zeppelin feel to it at the same time. And
they kind of just nailed that era, I guess. Whether or not you like them, you have to admit that they caught that sound like perfectly.
And they're like super young too, man.
I know, and
I saw a video of them playing, and I'm like, dude, they look like they're in high school.
Here's my thing: is like I think a lot of people, I see a lot of hate for them more than I do good, just because a lot of people don't like the fact that they sound a lot like, and that's fine. You like what you like, whatever. I don't care. Like,
right.
But I think, because they're so young and they're already doing this, just wait until like, what if they get 4 albums down the line? Imagine what they're gonna be doing. Like, if as long as they don't keep just ripping off, if they could evolve,
and I think they will.
Exactly.
And I think they will, because if
they sound like
they're very talented, very talented and a tight band, so.
Like, I don't know. I think that they could eventually.
But then you're going to get then
crazy.
The people that were their like super fans because they sounded like Zeppelin are going to turn
they don't
around
sound
and
like
say,
Zeppelin
"God damn it, they
anymore."
don't sound like Zeppelin anymore. I don't like these guys. That was the whole reason I liked this band in the first
They're
place."
just gonna go from Zeppelin, and they'll slowly morph into like
Sabbath.
Pink Floyd and
Pink Floyd, then Sabbath, eventually.
They'll just
Deep
cover
Purple.
a different band style each time.
We're gonna sound like Aerosmith on this album. Like Dream On, Aerosmith, and
that's crazy.
But that guy you got to admit, he has a hell of a voice, though.
Oh, he's got a crazy range. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. How old is he? He's like under 21.
I was going to say they've got to be under 21 because
he is, I think.
The video that I saw of them, like, they really did. They looked like they might have been like high school, right out of high school.
They're like Jonas Brother age. Like young Jonas Brothers age, but they're better than the Jonas Brothers.
Come on now, you don't want to see a sick Nick Jonas solo,
Dude, I have well, you know how it is, like when you love to watch bad movies.
Yes, I know exactly what it's like to love to watch bad movies.
I know you do. I love listening to bad music. Like, as long as if I'm in a bad mood, I need good music, and I do listen to good music a lot of the time, but I love listening to, like, trash. And every now and then, like, the Jonas Brothers will pop up on YouTube, and I just turn it on, and I just, like, seethe. I just get so pissed that, like, that shit has, like, 80 million views.
He's popping on his favorite Britney album and just,
seriously,
letting the crazy out.
Yeah.
Like late 90s era Britney, where he's like, that's going to shave his head and, just go bonkers and have his breakdown and come out of it. And,
I think if I was gonna do any 90s theme breakdown, I'd just, like, go the full Eiffel 65, just, like, go full Euro techno, like, back to the baggy sweatsuits and, like, the bleached, like, frosted tips.
There you go, man. Yeah,
That's the one I'd go to.
And when you get to that stage, let me know, and we will start up a Rammstein-ish type band, like early Rammstein.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like mid-90s Rammstein. Yeah. That would be fun, because I love Rammstein. I don't care what anybody says. They're a great band. They're fun to
I
listen
honestly don't know anything about them other than what Richie has shown me. And Richie and, Alex Slagle.
Oh, yeah,
Alex
yeah.
Slagle loves them, so I know him through
one of the
them,
members of the
basically.
TV Casualties, the bassist,
yes.
bassist of the TV Casualties.
The infamous TV Casualties.
We our one and only show that we played.
No, we had two.
But the
remember?
second one got kind of screwed up, so we didn't actually get to play that one. We did have it booked, but yeah.
That's why we have even more mystique behind our legend now, because it was like,
we only come out.
Technically, they had two shows, but they only played one.
Someday on Average Joe's Drive-In Trivia down the road, when I'm 300 or 400 episodes in, you guys can talk about the mystique behind the TV Casualties and
where are they now?
We'll have to do one of those old, like, VHS one behind the musics. Where are the TV Casualties now?
We should. That'd be great. I know where everyone is, like, physically, so we can find them.
And where everybody's a phone call away.
Yeah.
So what happened? Well, we just didn't book another show, and
we just never played again.
So,
hey, it's never too late. Can always come back.
That's that'll be funny. The rate we are playing shows, which would be about every 3 or 4 years. Well,
we're waiting for that punk resurgence to come back in.
So if we do a show every 3 or 4 years, every show is a TV Casualty reunion show.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's our gimmick. Every show is a reunion show.
It's great to be back.
Hello, Cleveland. No, so yeah. Yeah, I definitely we definitely do need to do another one sometimes. It'd be fun.
Yeah,
that was a good time. That was like a bucket list thing for me, just because I'm such a huge Misfits nerd, getting just to do a cover set of Misfits songs.
Me too, man.
So.
Even TCML, we play Misfits covers a lot.
Yeah,
we love them. So it was just a natural thing to happen.
Yeah. Well, that was like when I was talking to Kathy that time about that show, and I'm like, if I can get a band together, can I have a slot? And she's like, oh, definitely. Yeah. So I was like, who can I do a Misfit cover set with? Yeah, I'm going to get a hold of They Call Me Legion, seeing they already know half the songs. So
yeah, pretty much.
This will be really easy. It will just be me singing with They Call Me Legion, basically. So,
it was a good time. Halloween night.
So yeah, we'll definitely do another one. And maybe, like, I'll get some audio recording so the Average Joe's Drive-In listeners can have a live album of They Called the TV Casualties. We may get a live They Called Me Legion album. I don't know.
We've talked about it.
Doing a live album.
We've talked about it a few times. Because we do this. We kind of go by the Bob Dylan book of things and never play stuff exactly the same live. We change a lot of parts. Especially as songs get older, we'll like tweak things and play.
Oh, yeah.
We've cut complete parts out and written new parts and put them in, and so we just yeah, we figured that some of these songs, like, people might want to hear, like, the new versions of.
Yeah.
So we've toyed with the idea of doing a live set of just songs that we've, like, tweaked with.
So that what they're going to do is they're going to, like, Fish jam band version their songs.
Yeah.
They're going to have, like, 25-minute opuses and,
just droned out notes for 4 minutes.
Just going to play the same note for 4 minutes.
Yeah, it's just like a...
changing reverbs on it every couple of seconds, so it's a different reverb.
There's a lot of spoken word poetry in there.
Freeform spoken word poetry.
Yeah, it's...
If anybody's ever seen Dewey Cox, just think of think of that scene where he's got like 1,000 people in the recording studio. It's going to be that, but live and improvised. So,
it's going to be great.
Somebody will probably think it's the greatest thing ever. So that's,
I'm also toying with the idea of I could possibly be making an entire EP on my phone of solo material or buried talent stuff.
Okay, cool.
Because my friend Eric turned me on to this 4-track recorder software that you can buy off the App Store. And it's not that bad, and it's kind of shitty, but I think it would be cool if someone made like an EP of
going
completely
lo-fi bedroom sound. Yeah.
So I'm toying with that too. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Hey, there's always that's one of the good things about technology at this point. There's no excuse why you can't find some way to actually record.
Seriously.
It may not be the greatest, but where I'm not so active in the music scene anymore, but that was one of the things I used to hear from bands all the time. They'd be playing out for like a year, and it's like, dude, you guys have any songs? No, we don't know how to record. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you have a computer. You can get free software, and you might have to spend $50, but if you got a couple mics, you can at least do a rough demo or something.
If you care about it, you put the
where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, exactly.
We did the whole Salvo album in our jam room.
Yeah.
That I was a part of anyway. We did that in our jam room basically with the most hodgepodge, like jerry-rigged, setup there known to man, just using every mic we could get a hold of, and we ran out of inputs for stuff, so we hooked up other things and had them we had stuff like bridged into input, so we would run like 5 mics through, but whatever. And I spent 4 months mixing it because there was a lot of stuff to fix and noises to take out, but it may not be the greatest sounding album ever, but it's pretty damn solid for a home.
Something out.
We have a pretty damn solid album, that's better than a lot of studio recordings I've heard, but we spent a lot of time on it to do it, and, we had to kind of learn as we went along and figure shit out. I mean, it's just like podcasting. I've had a bunch of people ask me about podcasting. They were like, well, what do I got to buy and what do I got to get? I was like, do you have a computer? Yep. I was like, you can download Audacity for free, which is the program I use to record my podcast.
Yeah.
I was like, you might need to go buy like a USB mic or something. But I was like, if you have Guitar Hero, that mic works. I did the first 4 or 5 episodes of the podcast with a Guitar Hero mic.
Yep.
Works all right. I mean, it's not the greatest, but it does work. I mean... And then it's just figuring things out and learning how to do stuff. It's like anything. You kind of got to do it in order to become better at it. I'm 63 episodes in on the podcast, and I've been recording bands and stuff for years, and I'm still learning stuff as I go along and figuring different ways out to do stuff.
No, you never stop learning, You
I mean,
perfect shit.
I mean, I know I could make the podcast a lot more grandiose if I had the money to sink into getting some, good interface and some. I have microphone, I have really good microphones and stuff like that, but the interface I have will not work with the modern computers because nothing has FireWire anymore,
right?
And it's too expensive to get a FireWire adapter for a laptop, and so it's one of those things where the thing works fine, but the technology has kind of met its maker, I guess, But in order for me to buy, I need to go spend a couple $100 to buy a decent interface to use, and then I could set it up. We could have 15 different guests all tracked on a separate track. And but for now, for what this is the way to do it, and I'm working out some ways to do this a little differently, for when I have guests in. But
you do the best with what you have. That's what I think.
So if anybody wants to buy advertising space or purchase things to help the show, then you get to hear the grander, Average Joe's Drive-In. But for now, you got to suffer with the way we're doing it, I guess, or just don't listen. And but please don't do that. Keep listening. So what have you been watching for movies lately?
Oh, man. I haven't seen A Quiet Place yet.
I was just going to ask you if you've seen A Quiet Place.
I know, because I thought about it last night. I was like, he's going to ask me, and I know he's probably seen it, and I still haven't.
I saw it like opening weekend. Yeah.
How was it?
Fucking amazing.
Yeah.
One of the best horror movies I've ever seen in a movie theater.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm a pretty big horror nerd and junkie, and I've watched a lot of horror movies, and I will honestly say I don't like get jump scare. Once in a while something will get me, but like consistently through a whole movie, it's been a long time since I've had something that's like consistently through the whole damn thing jump me like that.
You know what the last thing that did that to me was? Damn it. I just said it. The people who did the Evil Dead remake about the blind guy.
Oh, Lights Out?
Lights Out.
Yeah, which I still haven't seen yet. I have it on my Vudu. I just haven't watched it.
Is that the one where the blind guy, they're in the house
they're trying to rob him? Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's Lights Out, yeah.
I don't think it's Lights Out. It's like Don't Breathe.
Don't Breathe.
That's it.
Okay, Don't Breathe.
Don't Breathe.
Okay.
Dude, that movie did that to me. Yeah. I've never, that was the first time in a long time that I was
Lights Out is the M. Night Shyamalan one, isn't it? About the grandkids going to the grandparents' house?
No, that's The Visit or The Visitation or something like that. Lights Out is a horror movie.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
I have a bunch of these. One of my buddies hooked me up with it. I just haven't got to watch them. They're on my Vudu.
I remember hearing about Lights Out, so it's got to be something.
I'm kind of, at this point, I'm almost saving them for like my horror-a-thon for next October.
Dude, watch that Don't Breathe. It's
but
crazy.
I've also managed to get a lot of horror in VHS that I've been kind of saving on watching too. So I think next year I'm thinking about my theme, and I'm thinking of going with all 80s horror movies next year.
Nice.
So every year I kind of keep a loose theme. I don't usually end up sticking to it, but I'm just trying to watch as many as I can in that 30-day period. But yeah, I think next year I'm either thinking 80s or like franchises or something. I'm gonna pick something next year and try to really stick. But I'm thinking a decade would be fun to do. Just like it's gonna be 80s because there's a lot of 80s stuff I haven't seen. It'll give me a chance to revisit some stuff, but it would also give me a chance to make me actually go check out some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So because I just recently got Shudder.
Oh yeah,
which is awesome, and that's got.
Is it?
Oh yeah, it's got. If you're a horror fan, for the $5 whopping a month that it costs, it's definitely worth getting.
Now, that's not like a. I'm really dumb with technology. That's not a Roku thing, right?
It's basically like Netflix.
So you can just sign up on it.
Yeah, if you want to watch it just on your computer or your phone or whatever. Oh yeah,
$5.
And you get a 7-day free trial to check out what's on there. And thankfully, to the Movie Crit podcast, they a while ago they had given out a code for it. So when I signed up, I got a free month to start with, and I'm keeping it for $5 a month. I mean, that's like a coffee. Dunkin' Donuts is almost $4.
That's crazy.
So you can get a whole month. And the thing is, it's really cool because they have really good horror movies on there,
Yeah.
but they also have like Shudder exclusives. They have curator picks where they have different directors or actors come on and pick their favorite horror
favorites.
movies and stuff
That's sick.
to check out. And then they also have a show called The Core, which brings on like effects artists and different stuff. It's basically like a horror movie talk show where they break stuff down, and
That's awesome.
it's really cool. It's a real definitely, like, I encourage anybody that's a horror fan to support them because, like I said, it's $5 a month, and if you watch 1 or 2 movies a month on it, you're paying for the service.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
I watched Crystal Lake Memories on there,
Wow.
which is the 7-hour Friday the 13th documentary.
How was that?
It's amazing. If you're a Friday the 13th fan, it's a must watch.
I'll watch it.
But that's like the only streaming service you can find that on.
Yeah.
Unless you want to go pay $20 for the DVD or the Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
So you could get 4 months of Shudder for what it would cost to buy Crystal Lake Memories.
My God.
And you'd get to still watch it.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I've watched a few movies on it. I watched a movie that was actually filmed in Maine on there called Pod. Yeah, it's it's basically like a really intense episode of the X-Files. It's really, that's the best way to describe it. I really enjoyed it. It was shot down around Belfast.
I never heard of it.
Yeah, this was a few years ago.
Huh.
The director's name's Mickey Keating. He's did a movie called Carnage Park not too long ago, and he's got a couple other films out. But
I'll have to look it up.
yeah, and but there's a lot of Italian stuff on there that you can't find anywhere else.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
what's that one? Do they have Deep Red?
yes, and they also
Is that the one with the spider scene?
I can't remember, but that has Deep Red has the creepy little doll in it that just freaked me the hell out when I watched it.
That's right. I think that is the one with the spider scene.
It's an Argento film.
Yeah,
I know
there's one Argento film.
It is one of the best Argento films. It's right up there with like Phenomenon for me. Is my favorites. That's
There's
also
one
on Shudder,
Argento
too,
film
but
that I saw, and it had a spider scene in it, and I'm terrified of spiders. But like, oh my God, it was crazy, and I haven't been able to find the movie since.
I bet it's
Red.
Deep Red. Yeah, it's also known as Deep Red: The Hatchet Murders.
Yeah,
was one of those weird things where it has kind of multiple titles, but there's a lot of Italian stuff. There's a lot of 70s stuff on there. There's a lot of 80s stuff on there, like Street Trash and like these classic 80s, kind of forgotten 80s horror. And then there's like newer stuff that's on there that they pick, but it's not like a lot of services where there's just like nameless people buying films and throwing them on. They keep a smaller selection of films, and from what I understand, it seems like they kind of rotate them around, and but it's all hand selected. It's all like hand picked stuff by the guys that run the company. They pick the films and put them on there. So it's not it's not just stuff I think is like sight unseen and we're gonna just buy this and throw it up and somebody will watch it type deal. Yeah. At least it doesn't seem to be that way because even a lot of the stuff that I don't like, there's a little bit of everything on there for because horror is one of those genres. There's like 25 subgenres
more probably, yeah.
So but they break stuff down not by thriller, mystery, whatever. It's like vampire flicks, creepy monster movies, mad dog, family, all in the family. They'll have these cool little names and titles for stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna check it out when I get home.
So
yeah.
And that's also like, I figure $5 a month. It's also curbs me from having to go out and spend $20-$30 to track down some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, a lot of the stuff that's on Shudder, the only way you're gonna get it, and while I would still encourage people to buy stuff from companies like Arrow and Scream Factory when they put stuff out, because it's awesome and this stuff probably might not be online forever. But if you're a big fan of those films, buy them. But there's so much stuff on there that I've never seen that I want to watch. And the only way for me to watch it other than that is to go out and spend $20-$30 on these like high-end Blu-ray releases And I can't afford to do that constantly, so
Exactly.
so that right there is like kind of a cool way to actually get to see all this other stuff.
That's how I feel about the the Criterion collection.
I bought the night. Did you buy the Night of the Living
Not
Dead
yet.
tonight? Dude, it's worth it. It's
Yeah?
it's really worth it. Yeah.
How much do you pay for it?
I got it for $20.
20, yeah.
When it come out.
See, I would have all of those if I could, but most of them are so expensive. Even used are like
most
$20.
of them you're spending 34.
Yeah.
Like I've been looking for like a video copy of Watership Down.
Dude, yeah,
There is a Criterion collection.
I know
of that.
there is. I want it so bad.
It's $30-something for a used copy of it on DVD. It's not even on Blu-ray. If I remember right.
That movie is mind blowing.
I haven't seen that movie in a really long time, and I don't remember much about it other than it being like.
It's terrifying.
When I watched it, I wasn't very old when I watched it. I remember that movie really kind of disturbed me a little bit.
That movie is disturbing. It's so intense.
But it's been so long since I've seen it, I don't remember much about it other than it just kind of freaked me out a little bit. You know what I mean?
I just found out the same company that animated it and put that out, and they did another movie based on a book written by the same guy who wrote Watership Down. I think it was called Dog Island.
Okay.
And it's about like around World War II time, these scientists took this small island and they're doing medical experiments on dogs, like scientific mad scientist shit. And so the plot of the movie is these two dogs decide they're going to escape together. And like, so I've heard it's just as bad, if not worse.
Worse than Watership.
So I need to find that one because that one is gonna be crazy, I'm sure. But Watership Down is messed up.
But Netflix is either doing a series based on it or remaking it because I was looking for it on like Amazon Prime and Netflix, and I think you can rent it on Amazon Prime. I think it is on there, but on Netflix, I typed it in. It said coming 2018.
Oh,
so I'm wondering.
Or are they gonna put the movie on Netflix?
I'm wondering if they're doing a live action or something. You know what I mean?
Like Watership Down.
Yeah. I mean,
I hope not.
With today's technology, no, you know what I mean?
No,
you're gonna have like
CGI'd
you're gonna have like a what the hell was it? The Jungle Book
or is
Beauty
it gonna
and the
be
Beast
like what they did with Godzilla?
Could be.
They might do some like
a
cell shaded.
Kind of a series type.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I haven't heard anything or seen anything. I just saw the little cell that says Watership Down 2018.
I'm gonna check that out. Absolutely.
So, and it didn't say when in 2018, just in 2018.
Man, nothing's sacred. They won't leave anything.
If the only issue I would ever have with there's not a lot of films. Like, I hate remakes, but I don't have to watch them. That's the thing.
Right.
You know, I kind of get why they remake stuff, and remakes are one of those touchy subjects with a lot of movie fans because you're screwing with classic cinema, but there's only like a handful of movies that I'm like, you don't ever fucking remake those because they're perfect.
What are they?
Just Jaws. Jaws is one.
Thank you. That was my number one.
You don't ever fuck with Jaws.
That was my number one. I've said this is really dark, but I've said this countless times to many of my friends. I've said the day they decide and they announce that they're rebooting Jaws is the day I will probably try to commit suicide.
Don't do that.
I won't. But it's just that's how passionate I am.
Oh,
that
no.
Movie needs to stay
that is my
untouched.
favorite. That's my favorite movie of all time.
The shark doesn't look real. I don't give a shit. Like, shut up.
The shark still looks pretty badass.
It looks awesome. I don't care what anyone says. Like, the amount of work they put into that movie, everything. That movie is amazing.
You know, and there's those lightning in a bottle movies that you're
not gonna get.
You don't
that
ever.
Again.
You don't like. Okay, a prime example of it may not be the greatest movie of all time, but Return of the Living Dead is another film. There's no need to ever remake that film.
No.
Because
Amazing
it was
movie.
a lightning in a bottle movie. It was the right time, the right place, the right whole atmosphere.
It would be pointless now.
You could remake it and try to make it scarier or darker, but I don't think you would capture the same magic that you captured the first time around.
The best thing about that movie is that it's got that indefinable, like, I don't know if it's funny, if it's gross, if
it's a combination of so many things.
If it's genius, you don't know. It's just like
trashy.
And it's throwing so much shit at you, and it's awesome.
And it's just but there's certain movies like that it's just like there's no need to touch them because you're not going to recapture.
Right.
You may do something else and it may be kind of cool, but why reboot it? Just make some sort of just make another sequel or something. Right. And it's one of those things. Alien, the original Alien's another one. Don't ever remake that film.
We're not gonna. We're just gonna get more and more spin-offs or whatever he's doing now.
Hey,
Dude, Covenant, I was so disappointed.
It was not good.
I was so disappointed.
I give it like a 5 out of 10 because it looked really good and the effects and stuff were good. And actually, I really liked the first half of the story. But then the last half of the story, it sucked. I hated I hated the way it ended.
Yeah.
Even if I didn't like the middle to the very end section of it, if the ending had been really good, it kind of might have redeemed itself. It still wouldn't, I don't think it'd been amazing, but I would have given a better rating. I hated the ending of that movie so bad.
Yeah.
I was just like, really? It's like, oh, come on.
No, there was a few times that I wanted to stand up and walk out in that movie. The spoiler alert, but the one scene in it that I was like, this was fucking amazing, was when the whole battle, like the aliens on the deck of that hovercraft.
Oh, yeah.
And the crane grabs it, and then it crushes it, and all the acid blood just is like, shh. I was just like, that's amazing. There was some stuff in there that was like...
There was some really cool stuff in there, but that's the problem. It was like, the cool stuff didn't save the shitty story. I'm sorry, it wasn't good. And I get it. I get a lot of what they did, but it just is like, this is lame. This is not what I want. It's just...
They said he directed it. I don't think he directed it. I think he was like a producer overseer, but I don't think he directed it. Because unless he's totally lost his directing style.
Which does happen.
Yeah, it happened to M. Night. M. Night lost his for... and I haven't even seen his last new ones, but I've heard they were good.
I've heard his last couple were really good, yeah.
So, like, I'm glad he's finally getting back on track, but he totally lost his shit for a long time.
And I'm just waiting and as much as this pains me to say, I'm waiting for John Carpenter to have some sort of a resurgence. Because there's nothing better than late 70s, 80s John Carpenter.
Seriously.
Even early 90s John Carpenter is amazing. In the Mouth of Madness and They Live and,
They Live, yeah.
All those movies. When you start getting to Ghost of Mars, that's when things kind of started going down. I really liked Vampires. A lot of people don't like that one.
I liked it. I don't know. This sounds really bad. I like it, but I guess I don't take it that seriously as I do his other movies.
Yeah. Well, it's got a different tone. Yeah. It's more of a Western. To be honest, it's more of a Western.
It really is. It's a Western with James Woods and vampires.
And I love James Woods in that. He's great, and there's some funny moments in it. It has a Baldwin. Yep. I mean, it has one of the Baldwins. It's got one
of the infamous Baldwins.
It's got a Baldwin in it, but I like James Woods in that, and I think it's a fun it's kind of, like I said, it's a Western.
Yeah.
It is. It really is. It's kind of a Western film. If you get Shudder, before I forget, have you ever seen the movie Dead Birds?
No.
That's on Shudder, and you need to watch that.
Okay.
Because it is fucked up, and it's awesome. And as Mark Boone Jr. in it, who was in Vampires.
Oh, okay.
He's the kind of chubbier guy with, like, the longer hair. Yeah. Goons, man, not a bad day's work. It's that guy. Anyway, but he's a musician. He's a drummer in a punk band.
No, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Damn. All right.
Dead Birds. Anybody out there that's never seen the movie Dead Birds, it is fucked up and it's awesome. It's got some really weird shit going on in it, and it's just one of those kind of like early 2000s movies that was really good that nobody ever heard about because there was so much shit that came out in early 2000s before we kind of had that little bit of a it was in that weird time where horror was just kind of making its comeback again after we had so much really bad horror movies in the 90s, the stuff that sucked. Yeah. And then it was like when horror was just starting to take off again, and there was like a bunch of really awesome stuff, but there was also a bunch of crap still coming out, and it kind of got lost in the mix of things, you know, because it was one of those, it wasn't a theatrical release, and home video wasn't quite as popular, so it just kind of got lost in the shuffle. But almost anybody that I know that has seen that movie fucking loves that movie. So
damn,
it's definitely one worth checking out. So
I'll definitely check it out. Absolutely.
Because I was very excited to see that on it. I can't remember if that's on Shudder or Amazon Prime, but it's on one of the two. So
I think I have Amazon either way. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's on Shudder, but I think it might be Prime. I can't quite remember. But yeah, track down Dead Birds, anybody that's listening, and you can thank me later if you're a horror fan. If you're not a horror fan, it's probably very safe bet to avoid that film.
They're gonna hate you.
Because it's got some really nasty gore that's like I love, because it's that awesome gore shit, but it's messed up. It's messed up and not in a good way type gore. So unless you're like a gorehound who appreciate the effects aspects of things, and just it's probably not again a good movie to watch. But yeah, if you're a gore fan and like horror, definitely track it down. So yeah.
Damn.
But yeah, I've been watching as you've noticed, my VHS collection is breeding and making baby VHS movies.
It's getting pretty massive.
I'm running out of room. If I'm gonna have to figure out a different way to store stuff.
Need more shelves.
I need more room. I need to buy a bigger house just to house my VHS. So again, if people want to give me money, so I've been actually watching a lot of like old VHS stuff that I haven't seen in years, or stuff that's just been stuff I missed, like kind of that era of direct to video stuff I missed, stuff that I passed by on the shelf. It was like I always wanted to check out, but I never got around to. And the thing is, the fun part for me about going out and looking for, searching around for VHS, is I find shit that I've completely forgotten about.
Yep.
Stuff that I remember the cover, but I didn't remember the name, or, some films.
No, I know what you mean, because I still have VHS cover art burned into my memory.
Oh, there was, when I was so much great cover art back in the 80s.
And I don't remember the name of the movie, but I remember what the cover looked like. I know, yeah.
One of my buddies watched a film not too long ago that they reviewed on their podcast. The Movie Freaks podcast, going to give them a shout out because it's one of my favorites. Not just because I'm friends with them, but because it's an awesome show. But, they were talking about a film called The Kindred.
Yep.
And as soon as he described the cover for it, I was like, holy shit. I remember walking by that in the horror section. It was the creature inside the baby bottle. It was kind of a slime green.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, everybody that probably ever walked by the horror section walked by that film at one point in time.
Thought about that.
I thought about it many times about watching that, but I never did.
What bothered me for a long time was
Silent Night, Deadly Night used to freak me out.
Yeah, that was a bad
one. Going down the chimney with the axe. Yeah. I actually just watched that for the first time.
I've never seen it.
Is it good? I bought the 30th anniversary Blu-ray of it.
Shit, is it good?
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah?
It's very Italian horror-esque, but like more Americanized, I guess is the best way to put it. It's just hard to explain. It's a we did a Christmas crossover episode between the Movie Freaks and Average Joe's Drive-In, and we picked non-traditional Christmas movies, and that was one of the ones that we picked to watch, and I was just like, that movie's fucked up. It's awesome, though, but
really?
I
gotta check it out.
It's one of those films, again, if you're not a die-hard horror fan, don't ever watch that movie. Because there was shit there that bothered me, and I am definitely not a prude at all when it comes to movies, because I've watched some pretty disturbing shit over the years. And there was stuff in there that like bothered me really bad in that film.
Really?
So yeah.
Damn.
And it's not even like gore. It's not like because of the gore, or it's just there's some shit there, and I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, even though it's like 30-something years old. But yeah.
Now I'm sold. Now I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, it's such a fucked up weird movie, but yeah.
The one that bothered me as a kid was a basket case.
With ball. Which
Dude,
they just...
And it wasn't even the first one. It was like Basket Case 3, where it's like the baby carriage, and it's just his hand.
Yeah, I don't
like,
remember. I don't
you
remember
don't
that.
remember that?
I don't remember that one.
Oh,
I remember
that
there
one
was a
creeped
movie
me
called,
out.
which I think I saw the first one, but I've never seen the other ones. It's called It's Alive.
Oh, I have It's Alive on VHS.
Larry Cohen, I believe,
Yep.
did those. But there was one where there's that creature in a baby carriage as well.
That one is too, yeah.
Yeah.
You haven't seen that movie?
I'm pretty sure I saw the very first one, because I remember something about her having it in the hospital and then it like escaping and running off.
It literally comes out of her, kills everyone in the room.
Yes,
and then
yes. Okay,
escapes into the sewers.
Yes,
That's
yes.
the plot of the movie.
That is the one
This
that I saw.
woman as a child, the child kills everyone
because it's
and
some sort
goes
of like
into
a
the
mutant
sewers.
demon thing.
Yeah, and the husband of the woman, who I believe dies, spoiler alert, a little late, has to go track down the baby and commit a post-birth abortion, essentially.
This is a very charming sounding movie, I'm sure, for the people listening
it's
that
total
aren't into
smut,
horror.
but that's what you get in horror.
But this is another one. Shout Factory just put out the trilogy.
Oh,
Remastered, fucking upscaled, the whole deal.
I've never seen 2 or 3.
I need like $1 million or something, because I would buy pretty much the entire Shout Factory and Arrow, and like there's so many of these cool companies that are putting out like these awesome films, from awesome forgotten films, a lot of them, But I've stuck to my thing. As much as I would love to own a lot of this stuff, some of the stuff I own that they're putting out, and I'm like, I really can't justify dropping $30 on them, because most of them are between $25 and $30.
Yeah.
The ones I have made the exceptions for is I'm buying all of the John Carpenter steelbooks as they come out, which
Nice.
I need to pick up Prince of Darkness and Assault on Precinct 13, which both just come out.
Yeah.
I don't actually own either one of those anymore anyway. So,
I don't either.
But I have They Live, The Fog, and Escape from New York and Steelbook.
The Fog is so underrated, I think.
I've kind of changed my tone on that a little bit. I used to really not like that much.
Really?
But watching it, especially on that Blu-ray edition, cleaned up and everything, I'll throw it in and show you how good that looks now.
Yeah.
Like, it made me appreciate that like in a whole friggin' different way. So I'm gonna pick up the John Carpenter stuff. They are also, even though it's not gonna be in Steelbook, but I will pick it up. They're doing In the Mouth of Madness in, I think, Village of the Damned.
Wow.
They're doing like. And the thing is with Scream Factory and Arrow as well, is they put so many extras in behind the scenes and cool shit with those. So if you're like I am, and a complete movie nerd that loves all those behind the scenes and just different things, those are worth spending the money on if you really love those movies. So,
Exactly.
But I'm such a big John Carpenter fan that I've kind of been like, I'm going to go back through and buy all of his the Blu-rays as Scream Factory puts them out, or whoever, if I can't get them through Scream Factory, say Arrow or somebody else. But I would like to get them all through the same company, because they do some really cool artwork and stuff. So that's kind of like the one I'm really making an exception for to rebuy all the films, because I do have a bunch of them on DVD, but there is such a huge difference, because they're all rescanned and remastered and cleaned, and they just look so good. Yeah,
well, that's why I love Criterion so much, is they really do a good job of cleaning everything up. Oh, have you ever heard of Chronicle Collectibles?
No.
On Facebook? You got to check this place out. it's like this company. It's like this small company, and they basically just make like movie memorabilia, and they kind of go through spurts. Like they just got done a Jurassic Park, but they did like full, like life-size raptor head busts.
Oh, nice.
Shit, crazy stuff.
I wonder if that's the company that I saw that did the Critters replicas.
Probably. Yeah.
Because I was going to buy some of them, but they were like kind of pricey. They were like $100 for
That's
the Critters.
the thing. If you go through them, you can even do payment plans.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're like
Because
super affordable compared to everything else.
I would like nothing more than to have a replica Critter.
Go check them out on
So,
Facebook. Chronicle
because
Collectibles.
I found some other ones that another company made, but they look like puppets, and not like the puppets. They look like they don't look bad.
Hokey.
Well, they don't look bad, but they're not like exact replicas.
Yeah.
But I have seen some that somebody did that are like exact replicas.
It wouldn't surprise me because this place is crazy detailed, like crazy attention to quality.
And Critters is like one of my all-time favorite cheesy bad
Look 'em up.
movies.
Because they're probably on there. And the thing that I was going to tell you, they just announced they're doing something The Thing related.
Oh.
And I'm so excited. Like,
I wonder if they're going to do the big crab creature thing
Dude.
when it's all morphed out and it looks like 15 different things.
who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to say. They do some crazy stuff. They did a T-Rex model. I can't remember what the scale was, but I know it was like 2 feet tall, and I think it was 6 feet long.
Yeah.
From nose to tail. So like
Wow.
they're doing crazy stuff, and they do like giant head busts, and if they do anything related to a movie, like they're gonna do it right.
There's so
that's
many
pretty
awesome
much.
little companies like that out there now that do really, really interesting stuff like that.
Yep.
It's like those horror headliners that I have, which I have Leatherface, Jason, and Freddy, but I also believe there's a Pinhead and a Michael Myers of that I would love to track down, but I'm just like horrified to see what the prices would be on those because they're limited runs. They only did so many of them. And there's a lot of stuff. I never got into the Funkos for the exact reason of I would spend just an insane amount of money on those.
I was gonna ask you if you did those.
I have a couple. I bought a couple of Fallout ones last year at one of the cons because they were like on sale. They were $5 a piece, and I'm a huge Fallout fan, so I bought a couple of those. But it would be one of those things like there's so many cool ones they have out. They have a Tom Servo and a Crow. And I might buy those if I could find them.
Those would be good ones.
Just because Mystery Science Theater is like one of my favorite things ever. And one of these days, I am going to do just a Mystery Science Theater episode of Average Joe's Driving where I break down like my favorite 10 episodes or something.
Absolutely.
But there's 200 plus episodes now to go through, so yeah.
A lot, yeah, to sit through.
There's a lot. Have you watched any of the new?
I have. I haven't seen it all, but I've seen a lot of it.
Yeah. What do you think?
I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
What I've seen, honestly. The one I don't see. That's the worst part with me is I can never remember the names of the movies they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like the one where the kids sneaking Coca-Colas to the Yeti or whatever.
Cry Wilderness.
That one was amazing. Like I was crying, laughing. I couldn't believe it. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah, that one. That one
was crazy.
That one is funny. My favorites from the new season, I've watched it through like 3 times just because it's me, and that's what I throw on.
I've got to watch the rest of them because it's really good, I think.
Oh yeah, I think it took, it was weird because you can kind of tell, like, obviously most people don't realize they don't film the episodes in sequence either. But there's some episodes where you can tell they're still trying to find their footing a little bit, and then there's other episodes. I mean, they're just
nailing it.
Reptilicus is great.
Reptilicus was a really good one.
Reptilicus was really funny. The Beast of Hollow Mountain is hilarious. Star Crash was another one I really liked, and Cry Wilderness are probably Youngary is the other one that I really like out of those ones. Those are probably my favorite 5 of the new season, and we get new season coming up this year, so
I'm glad they're
season 12.
Hell yeah!
So I'm pretty excited about
Keep
that.
Keep it going, man. It's good.
Yeah, so
they need stuff like that, I think.
So my big thing right now is sometime this week I gotta go watch Infinity War just because.
Oh, no one shuts up about that movie.
I'm like, well, that's my problem. Not that I really care about getting it spoiled for me, but at the same time, I'd kind of like to watch it before I find out what the hell happens, and people aren't going to be able to shut up that long about it. So.
Everyone's talking about that movie.
But I also don't want to go and deal with idiots in the theater, so, and that's one of those movies, unfortunately, you're going to get the people that bring their 5-year-olds that don't shut up the entire time.
People were crying in the theater.
Oh, I've heard it's very emotional. Luckily, I haven't seen any spoilers yet.
Me either. I don't know.
People are being
any of them.
But people were really good, like with The Last Jedi, about not spoiling stuff for the most part, and they seem to be pretty good about this so far. But my other worry is I still haven't seen Black Panther yet. So am I gonna not understand what's going on? Part of what's going on if I don't see Black Panther, before then. Or...
I heard it's more Guardians related.
A lot of Guardian and Thor from what I heard. Yeah.
So I think if you follow that, which I haven't, the only movies I've seen out of it, I saw the first Captain America movie.
Yeah.
Hated it. I saw. I think I saw the first Thor movie, but I don't remember. And I watched every Spider-Man movie.
Yeah. The newest Thor is the best one of the three.
I heard it was really good.
Awesome. That was one of the funnest movies I've seen in a theater for a long time.
I heard it was
Jeff
really good.
Goldblum is amazing in that.
Really?
Yeah. He's very Jeff Goldblum-y in it.
Well,
so
of course,
he is like classic Jeff Goldblum in that. I like, I'm a big fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies and that stuff. So I do like the Marvel movies. I'm kind of getting a little burned out on them because we've just been inundated with so many of them.
Getting beaten over the head with them.
I'm kind of afraid that might happen with the Star Wars films.
I've been saying that, man.
Because they're just putting out so many of them. Once they announced
it one a year, it's like we're going to get bombarded.
If we were getting one every 2 years, it would probably be okay.
Yeah.
But now that we're getting one like once a year, twice a year,
so you're gonna get a Star Wars story, and then you're gonna get an actual Star Wars film. And on and off.
And I'm a little more excited for Solo now. But after when I saw the first trailer for Solo, I'm like, I could really care less about going to see this.
I haven't even seen the new trailer.
The new trailer's a lot better. Like I was like, I might go see that in the theater now, but I've actually been to the theater a lot lately since. The Bangor Mall Cinemas redid their seats. So now it's so much more comfortable.
Yeah,
you don't have to worry about people kicking your seats because they're so wide now. You don't, and you can recline and relax. I've seen Annihilation, A Quiet Place, and Super Troopers 2.
Annihilation was a weird movie.
It was. I really liked it, though.
I did too. I really liked the premise of it and everything.
I was a little missold by the trailer on what it would be. Like, I thought it was going to be a little more of an action-adventure sci-fi, but that movie is a hard, what I consider hard sci-fi.
Yeah.
There's a lot of science involved in that film.
Yeah, that you don't understand.
That you don't understand.
You're not going to understand.
But it's such a beautiful film. And the music is so goddamn creepy in that.
Yeah.
The music really
cool.
sells that film.
That was a really good movie, actually.
That's going to be out on Blu-ray and DVD here in the next couple weeks, I believe. And that's what I want to watch again. I haven't reviewed it on the show yet, but I rewatched Blade Runner on Blu-ray for the first time.
The old one?
The original. Yeah. Holy shit, does that look amazing.
I bet, man.
I've only ever watched it on VHS and DVD.
Did you see the new one?
No, yes and no. I watched it at my buddy's house, and it was really late when we ended up starting it. We watched something else before that, and then we started Blade Runner, and I ended up falling asleep halfway through, so I missed, I watched probably about 30 minutes of it, then I fell asleep, woke back up, saw about 10 more minutes of it, and then fell back asleep, so I haven't got a chance to watch the whole thing.
You gotta, because it's really good.
Well, that was part of the reason I threw Blade Runner on last night, because I haven't seen Blade Runner in a while, so it was I kind of wanted to revisit that before I watched the new one.
Yeah, you should, because that's what I did.
Because I'm afraid that I'm going to, forget stuff because it's been a while since I'd watched it. But yeah, seeing Blade Runner, and I watched it was the Blade Runner Final Cut. That movie still looks better than stuff that's made today.
Yeah, I know. And the new one is like every scene, for me at least, I was just like, holy shit, this is so cool. Like every single frame was filmed
I'm pretty
so
sure,
cool.
didn't that win an Academy Award for cinematography?
I don't even know. It should have.
I'm pretty sure that did, yeah.
I was blown away through like 90% of that movie based on just what I was seeing.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
It's a good movie. I've been kind of on a sci-fi kick a little bit, but not like real bad. Because I go through those sections where it's like all sci-fi, all action, all horror, whatever. Yeah. But I've been a lot more bouncing around lately on my genres. I've been watching a little bit of everything. But I watched a good movie from the early '90s called No Escape. It's kind of like the adult version of Lord of the Flies.
Oh yeah.
Where they send prisoners to an island, and there's two factions, and they end up fighting again. It's got Ray Liotta and Ernie Hudson and Kevin Dillon and a whole bunch of people you would recognize. Lance Henriksen's in it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really good. It's kind of one of those forgotten films. If I remember right, it kind of bombed really bad when it came out.
Yeah.
But it's a really good film. I hadn't seen that one in years. I watched Deep Star 6, which was
Deep Star 6,
which wasn't that good. But
that's real old, isn't it?
That come out about the same time as Leviathan and the Abyss.
That was the one. Deep Star 6 had the weird robots in it, right? Is that the one?
No, Deep Star 6 is the one about there's a giant creature at the bottom of the ocean and they're mining. They basically all have the same premise, so it's kind of confusing. They are very confusing. Deep Star 6 was directed by Sean S. Cunningham, who directed Friday the 13th.
I know Sean.
So it's out of the three, there's like Deep Star 6, Leviathan and the Abyss. It's the most cheapest made of the three, and you can definitely tell. Some of the effects look really bad in that. Some of the effects look really good, but you can tell where they put the money and effects into and where they didn't.
Yeah.
Some of it, some of the the ocean effects look like it was shot in somebody's fish tank.
Probably was.
And it probably was. I mean, and I'm okay with that if the movie itself is really good. I will give a pass on shoddy effects or uneven effects. But yeah, the movie itself isn't that good either. So it's just
it's no Friday.
Leviathan is fun.
Leviathan, I think I've seen.
And I loved The Abyss, but it's been so long since I've seen it.
I've never seen it.
A film that I picked up, and I have never seen it, and I'm going to be shamed for saying this because I'm a horror fan, but is Event Horizon. I just got that on I just got a Blu-ray copy of that, and I do have it on VHS too. I just haven't gotten around to watching it yet. So
it's I was kind of lukewarm on it, honestly. Everyone was telling me I was going to freak out.
Everybody seems to, the people I've talked to with that, that seems to be a movie, maybe I'm wrong on this, but it seems to be one of those movies that it grows on people. The more, the more you watch it, the more you appreciate it type thing.
I just don't ever see myself being in the mood to watch it again, honestly.
I said,
I don't have anything bad to say about it. I just
I haven't watched it yet, so I can't tell, but I've that's another thing that I have picked up a lot of stuff on VHS is films that I should have seen but I haven't.
Yeah.
But I don't really want to go blow again $10, $15, $20 on it. So, and there's a lot of movies on VHS that I don't really need them to be on DVD or Blu-ray to appreciate them. Then there's movies I want on those formats.
Right.
I'm really trying to keep a happy balance, and I can pick VHS up for a quarter.
Yeah, it's so affordable.
It's affordable. Crazy. I just picked up 15 movies the other day.
Yeah.
It cost me $5. No, I picked up, how many movies did I pick up? Hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 12. I picked up 14 movies for $4.20.
Yeah, try to get that anywhere else for DVDs.
If you bought 14 DVDs, even if they're cheap, you're still going to end up paying about $30-something.
Yeah.
Even if they're only $3 or $4, which you can find a lot of good DVDs cheap.
Yeah.
Like I picked up the Omega Man the other day for $6.
Oh shit! I gotta get that.
They had one copy left.
Damn it.
Because that was the only one I don't have of the Matheson, adapted
Books, yeah.
I Am Legend ones. And the only reason I bought it, and I've always liked it. I've only seen it a couple times, but before that viewing. But I watched The Last Man on Earth, which is like one of my absolute favorite films of all time. It's my favorite Vincent Price film. But so I watched that because that's one that I watch just about every year, maybe every other year at the most. But I watch that one on a regular basis. Mm. So I was like, man, I really need to watch the Omega Man again because I haven't seen that in so long.
I haven't seen it in a long time either. I remember the soundtrack really threw me off.
Oh,
the first time I watched it.
It sounds like
it's straight.
It reminds me of an exploitation film.
It sounds like the Shaft soundtrack.
Yeah, exactly. It's got that, and not just because of that, but just the way the film looks.
Oh yeah,
and
everything
the feel.
About it.
It feels like it does. It feels like an exploitation film.
Yeah,
it's very much of the era that it was made.
But there's
in.
no like exploitive violence or sex that I remember in it.
Well, he does get it on with Rosamund Cash,
Well, yeah.
Because Moses is the man.
Yeah.
He's. But then, so I watched that the other day, and I'm gonna watch I Am Legend this week just because. So the next review cast, I'll give you a little bit of a heads up. I'm gonna be reviewing all 3 of the Matheson adaptations of the film.
Listen to that, dude.
So, along with some other stuff, I kind of have a little bit of a backlog of stuff right now that I've been kind of skipping or just haven't been like in the mood to review or whatever. But there's going to be some episodes coming up where I'm going to review franchises. So I'm kind of holding off on doing any of those reviews until I get ready to do them all right in one shot type deal. So, but yeah, man, it's goes by quick every time goes by quick.
It does.
Zach and I probably could sit here for another 3 hours and keep shooting the shit about films, but Zach's the first guest I've had on 3 times.
Yeah, hey, I didn't know that either.
So he's the first 3-timer.
Happy anniversary.
Happy. You're setting the precedence for future 3-time guests.
That's right. Oh yeah.
So I don't. I like, and of course he'll be on again at some point because we always have a great time talking and catching up, and maybe we'll announce the next TV Casualties reunion show.
Yeah,
you never know.
Something to think about. Yeah,
something to think about. So anyway, man, thank you very much for coming on. You got anything you want to plug before we go?
I guess the only thing I'd plug is go. I'm not even on Facebook right now, but go follow. They Called Me Legion on Facebook because it might be a month or 2, but eventually we're gonna be putting out a new album. And it's gonna be pretty intense.
I'm hoping maybe when you guys get ready to put it out, I can get like the whole band.
Yeah,
we'll get Richie and James to come, and
that'd be great.
Yeah, maybe we can get you guys to do maybe like an acoustic performance or something of one of the songs.
No, absolutely.
Or something, or maybe you could debut a track. We'll figure something out anyway, man. But yeah. So thank you everybody for listening, and I appreciate all the feedback and support I get from you guys, and it's what makes this worth doing. I would do it whether there's 1 or a million people listening because I enjoy having the guest on and talking about movies, and it's always a good time. And I'm going to leave you with this word of advice. Remember, kids, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one, and I will see you sexy animals on the flip side. Thanks for listening to Average Joe's Drive-In. If you'd like to talk movies or contact the show, add our social media pages. You can add us on Facebook at Average Joe's Drive-In Podcast, on Twitter at TWJ Author, on Instagram at Thomas Washburn Jr. You can also hit up www.thomaswashburnjr.com for more information about the show and related links. If you'd like to support the show, you can buy TJ's books on Amazon. Just type in Thomas Washburn Jr. in the search. Books are available in Kindle and paperback formats. If you have Kindle Unlimited or Prime, you can read the books for free and money will be earned by the pages read. It doesn't cost you anything and it supports the show. Until next time, you've been listening to Average Joe's Drive-In.
It's intermission. Rise and stretch time. Time to refresh yourself and visit our snack bar. Got a yen for hot popcorn? Your favorite soft drinks are sparkling cold. The juicy Frank sizzling hot. There's delicious coffee, freshly brewed, and all kinds of ice cream and candy to tempt you. Showtime will be announced loud and clear to get you back to your car in time. So stretch your legs. Come to the snack bar now.